Hello dear friends, and welcome to the GeoCoast. Let's talk about visualizing and monitoring coastal environments. We are all interacting with the coastal system on a regular basis, especially those who live near the coast. Walking, kayaking, surfing, going on boat trips. And most people have mobile phones and we are taking photos. So when we do this, we are visualizing the coast. Likewise, if you take an aerial image with your drone of a coastline, you will be visualizing the coast. This imagery, for instance, can be used for producing maps, like done by the Ordnance Survey of Ireland. When they take an aerial image, then they interpret it using computer-based GIS system to convert the image into a map by outlining the position of the coastline, of the landforms, of roads, car parks and buildings. The scientific value of these photographs will increase if you also record GPS coordinates of each photograph, which can be done by most modern mobile phones with the GPS function enabled. When you're visualizing the coast, you're documenting the way things are in the coastal system at any particular time. But imagine if you were to come to your favorite beach and take a photograph of a particular sand dune or another object on the beach, like a soft glacial till cliff or a rock with sand ripples moving around it. And if you were to take a photograph of that particular object on a regular basis at systematically spaced time intervals, every day, every week, month, and then if you make these photos comparable by placing your camera on a tripod at a particular angle oriented at the same heading in the same position, so you'll generate a set of photographs which would be intercomparable between themselves. So once you generated this set of photographs, your visualization of the coast becoming a coastal monitoring technique, because you can actually see how the coastal system evolves through time. So we can say that simple visualization, taking pictures or making paintings of the coast at any particular moment, it's 3D mapping, and monitoring, it's 4D mapping when the fourth component is time. So you're recording how the coastal system is changing through time. And it's very important, especially in the context of coastal zone management, when taking decisions about where to place various infrastructure, like coastal protection or buildings, factories, in the coastal setting. As if you understand how the coastal system is functioning, you would most likely make sound decision and avoid problems in the future related to coastal erosion and rising sea level. Visualizing can be performed for a variety of reasons, like tourism and recreational activities in the coastal zone, journalism and news reporting, films, art including painting and photography. Mapping, for example, when an aerial image is taken once and then interpreted to produce a map. In support of scientific research, in support of decision making, for example in the context of integrated coastal zone management. Visualizing can be performed using various types of cameras and sensors. For example, sonars, radars, which can be handheld or deployed on the coast on a tripod, in the air, like airplane, helicopter or a drone, on floating platforms, boats or research vessels, or in space, satellites. So we have established that when any of the visualization methods are being applied at systematically spaced time intervals, then they can be referred to as monitoring techniques. Although monitoring is not necessarily based on the visual imaging of the coast, but can also be in the form of repeat measurements and noted observations of changes in a particular part of the coast. You can choose any object on the beach, for example, like a lamppost or a rock which is not likely to move under the influence of waves. And then you can come there at the regular time intervals and perform measurements of the vertical sediment level or of the position of the coastline in relation to that particular landmark. You can also install coastal monitoring posts and perform measurements of the position of the coastline, vegetation line, the dune front in relation to those coastal monitoring posts. It's simple, but at the end of the day it will produce a valuable data set which will help to understand the functioning of the coastal system. The main aim of monitoring is to record how the coast is changing through time. Depending on a particular mission, we could be looking at the daily sediment movement in the intertidal zone, or investigating seasonal variations in sediment movement pattern, or rates of coastal erosion or accretion, or looking at longer multi-annual scales. There are some monitoring programs in the UK which have been recording coastal changes for over 50 years. Personally, I have performed coastal monitoring surveys on a scale of few years in County Waterford, County Cork and Kerry. I know that some colleagues from other universities have been doing similar projects. However, on the national scale, we're missing long-term coastal monitoring program. It becomes more easy to do coastal monitoring surveys using modern technology like drones, for example, when you can come to a particular location and fly your coastline on a set course at a set height and repeat these flies at regular space-time intervals every month, let's say, and then you'll generate, then mosaic the images, and then you'll generate a set of photographs which would allow you to see how this part of the coastline evolved through this period of time. It's also possible to perform historical analysis of coastal changes based on comparison between contemporary mapping and aerial photography and older data sets. This can be even done via Ordnance Survey of Ireland website. You can simply zoom to the area of interest, activate a historical map and make layers semi-transparent, and you will be able to see how the shape of coast has changed since 19th century. What's important to understand when talking between the difference between visualizing and monitoring, that monitoring is always related to solving scientific or management challenges. I don't know people who would be doing coastal monitoring for their leisure. For instance, trying to understand the reasons and patterns of coastal erosion at given location, which is science, and assist in decision-making regarding design and construction of the potential coastal protection, which is part of the coastal zone management, or when considering planning applications for any development in the coastal zone. Coastal monitoring is the key to understanding the functioning of the coastal system. It helps to take sound decisions in relation to construction of coastal infrastructure, including coastal protection. In places, coastal system develops on a cyclic basis, where erosion is changed with the position of sediments and accretion of the coast. The length of the cycles could be from seasonal to multi-annual. Therefore, only systematic, long-term coastal monitoring can help to understand the functioning of the coastal system at any given location. In places, erosion could be a result of a single storm event, with background conditions being of the positional nature. In those cases, there's no point to implement any coastal protection measures following a short-term panic. In my opinion, the Government of Ireland should consider setting up a state-funded long-term coastal monitoring program for all soft parts of Ireland's coastline which are prone to erosion. This could be a monitoring program involving collaborative and well-coordinated effort by county councils of the coastal counties, university academics and their students, secondary school geography teachers and their pupils, and the local community, who could also play an active and useful role in performing the necessary measurements and collecting data. It can be delivered in the form of a web-based WebGIS with linked database of various measurements and imagery that is being updated by all involved. To assure the quality, this should certainly be coordinated and guided by a panel of experts who would propose the most appropriate techniques for each particular location and provide necessary instructions to all involved in data collection through regular workshops and field trips. If done in this way, this will also have a strong educational aspect, raising people's awareness, understanding and appreciation of the coastal environments of the island that we live on. Also looking into the future, in the context of potential climate change and rising sea level and increasing storm frequency, knowledge about the functioning of the coastal system of Ireland as a complete island are likely to be of irreplaceable value when making decisions about the coastal zone management approaches, which can range from adaptation to the natural course of coastal evolution to coastal protection using a variety of engineering solutions.